Hello, and welcome to another success lesson brought to you by the Harvard Community College Learning Center. My name is Jocelyn, and today we are talking about time management, making time to study. Now, this is an interactive success lesson, which means you can follow along and answer the questions that I'm going to go through on this PDF. Underneath this video, in the video description box, there's a link to the PDF. So if you'd like, go ahead and pause this video and download the PDF so that you can write your own answers in the blanks. Or if you prefer, just take out a blank sheet of paper or the Notes app on your phone. This will be so much more meaningful for you if you can answer the questions along the way. So we can't start any presentation about time management without first addressing procrastination. Does this meme look familiar to you? Was that project due tomorrow or DO due tomorrow? So for avoiding procrastination, think about your own habits. Do you tend to procrastinate? And if so, how? Or what things do you procrastinate on? Go ahead and write that in the blank. And then think about, how can you avoid procrastination? What do you think you can do to not procrastinate as much? If you learn to master procrastination, you will be in control of many elements of your life. So to conquer this procrastination, we need to think about our priorities. Consider the priorities in your life. Those are the things that should be taking the most of your time. And think about coursework being a top priority for you. So let's go to those blanks. What courses are you taking this semester? Go ahead and write those below. Maybe you're taking English 101 or Math 018. Go ahead and write the names of those courses. Now think about what other priorities you have in your life. Your priorities to your family, work, community service, sports, religious activities, hobbies. Think about those other things that you really would like to spend time on and that are meaningful and fulfilling to you, and list those in the blank. Now that you've listed your courses and your other priorities, think, are you giving your top priorities enough time? Or are you maybe wasting some of your time or not using your time effectively enough to dedicate the time to the things that are your priorities? So let's talk about study time, since coursework is one of our top priorities. How might your success in school change if you treated study time like a job, like you were getting paid for it, like other people depended on you? You might take it a bit more seriously, right? Well, it's recommended that you study for 2 to 3 hours outside of class for every credit hour in class. So let's think about what that might be like. Say you are taking 6 credits this semester. So 6 credit hours times 2 equals 12. And 6 credit hours times 3 equals 18. So if you were taking 6 credits, you would need to spend between 12 and 18 hours studying each week outside of class. Now, some classes might not require that much time and some classes might require more time. One thing to think about too is that if you're taking a class that's completely online, you need to make sure you're setting aside the time to do the work, to study and learn the material that you normally would be learning in a face-to-face scenario or during remote classes. So we know there's a lot of time that it's recommended that we study. So think about breaking that study time into smaller chunks. Instead of saying, I'm going to study for 8 hours on Sunday, plan to block out small portions of time to study daily, such as 30 minutes or an hour, and you can rotate between those subjects. This graphic is really valuable in thinking about intense study sessions. So really getting a focused, short study session where you have a goal, You interact with the material in a meaningful way, such as filling in notes, creating concept maps, summarizing, and then you can take a break and review what you've just learned. Other tips is to study right after a remote class or study right after your in-person class, because that is when information is fresh in your memory. Some other suggestions are to study during the daylight, near some natural light, study when you're not sleepy, when you can have the best productivity. But of course, this is personal, so think about when you like to study. When are you most effective? Are you most effective right in the mornings, right before lunch? Go ahead and jot down some study times that you find work really well for you. Now, once you've made note of that, something I really recommend students do is make a calendar. Either print out 4 months on sheets of paper and put it up on your wall, or put it on an app that you will reference often, and plan out your whole semester. Look at your syllabi and see when your tests are scheduled, when the due dates are, when your essays are due. And by writing these all in and putting it in a place where you'll see it often, it's less tempting to procrastinate because you have those constant reminders, those visual cues to help you keep on track. And then you can plan to study backwards. If you know you have a biology exam on October 22nd, you're going to want to work backwards and start studying for the exam on the 16th or the 17th, so you have plenty of time and you're not cramming and waiting until last minute. Once you have an overview of your whole semester, you'll want to think about making a daily schedule. So for you right now, what do you do to manage your daily schedule? Perhaps you have a paper planner or you use a calendar app. What do you do to plan out your day? And is there a more effective way? Go ahead and jot down some notes about that. So if you're thinking there might be a better way, here are some time management tools that you can explore. The first is a paper planner or bullet journaling. Paper planner, you can, buy a planner at the store that already has the dates filled in and use this as a method to track your time, track your daily schedule. Some people also like to do bullet journaling, which is what I have a picture of here. This is a bit more artistic, where you buy a blank journal and you can look online to find some templates or ideas, but it's really where you're creating it on your own, creating your own boxes. That's really great for people that are artistically minded. Some other apps you can use or explore. I really like to use Google Calendar since I'm a Google user. This lets me put all of my appointments, my assignments in a place where I can easily see them, and I can share the calendar with others. You can also use your Outlook calendar. As a student here at HCC, you have access to the Office 365 suite. So the Outlook feature is very similar to Google Calendar and it's awesome to use. I use it for work. There are also other apps you can use. This one here at the bottom is called Summit. I like this as a daily to-do app that you can find in the App Store. There are also homework planner apps. There are tons of things in your App Store, whether you're an iPhone user, Android, so you can explore some of those things to keep track of your tasks and to better manage your time. Something I like to recommend to students, no matter what method you use, is to map out your daily schedule at least once using a color-coded system. This really helps students see where their time is going. It may seem counterintuitive, but actually scheduling the time of your day and knowing your limits actually gives you more free time. So this is an example of what this might look like when it's completed. The basic idea is that you are going to plan out your time in a week so that way you can really identify when you want to study and when you have free time and when you have obligations. So the first step is that in red, you mark off on your weekly calendar any appointments with a set start and end time. If you have work, you can put that on your calendar. If you are in a remote class right now that meets every Thursday from 3 to 5 p.m., go ahead and mark that off in red. Commuting time, family responsibilities, these are other things you can put in red. Yellow, you can mark maintenance activities. These are things that you would like to get done during your week, but they don't necessarily have a set time that you need to do them, but they're still important. These are things like finding the times when you're going to study, those small chunks of time, your chores, your groceries, when you're going to eat lunch and dinner, those things are really important too, right? So mark all of those activities off in yellow. And then last, in green, it's important to have some free time. Make time for your hobbies, for you to have a little bit of relaxation, hang out with your friends. And I really suggest putting your wake up times and bedtimes there as well to make sure you're getting enough sleep, taking care of yourself as a student. So in this PDF, there's a blank example that you can download and fill out for yourself. And then another thing you're going to want to think about is choosing a study space. So when you're studying at home, pick somewhere that is quiet, that has some nice lighting, and I really recommend turning off your cell phone or putting it in airplane mode so that you're not distracted. You can also try out different study spaces such as coffee shops. When we're on campus, you can reserve study rooms, quiet study rooms from the library. So in conclusion, what is your biggest takeaway from this? I want you to jot down a couple of notes about what you can do to better manage your time or studying this semester and what you want to commit to changing. So go ahead and write that down. All right, well, thank you for participating in this interactive workshop. If you would like to work one-on-one with the Learning Assistant on course content you're working on, questions you have about your classes, feel free to email learningcenter@harford.edu, and we can set you up to have a Teams call with the Learning Assistant to work on your course content with you. You can also use that same email address if you are interested in learning more about time management skills, studying skills, or if you would like to meet with me to create a personalized plan for your success as a student. Go ahead and email learningcenter@harford.edu. Thank you very much.